Candyman, a podcast where we're not talking about Candyman, the movie where Virginia Madsen and Tony Todd had to hold still for 45 minutes while a tiny bee vacuumed bees off their faces. Instead, we're going to be talking about Sweet Tooth on Netflix. I'm Alex.
The way you talk about Candyman, it makes it feel like it's all bees. Is the movie just all bees?
I mean, there's a lot of bees. There's a lot of bees.
Yeah. I'm Justin.
I'm Pete. Oh man, I can't wait to eat these M&Ms.
Oh my God! Great. Stop it! Put it down! Put it down! Put it down! Put it across the room. This episode, we're going to be talking about season 2, episode 4 of Sweet Tooth, Bad Man, and we're going to be reviewing at the end of the episode a classic, Peanut M&Ms. So,
Woo-hoo!
If you don't want spoilers for either the episode or Peanut M&Ms, definitely don't listen to
big spoilers coming up about the M&Ms. What's inside the M&Ms? Stay tuned and find out.
But in the episode, brief bit of recap here. So basically, as you can probably tell from the title, with Bad Man, we're focusing on everybody either being bad or breaking bad in different ways. We're picking up on a lot of the cliffhangers for the last episode. We start off in Factory Town, where Aimee and Jepp are trying to get out. They're trying to get together with these, what are they called? Airbuds? Nope.
Yeah, they're Airbuds, dogs that play basketball.
There's no rule. There's no rule that they can't play basketball.
It's a great point. There's no rule they can't be the army you march into Abbott's stronghold with. These people are Air Lords, I believe.
Air Lords. I'm going to keep calling them Airbuds throughout the podcast, though. Anyway, they are trying to track them down. Ultimately, they get taken in by them. There's a bunch of kerfuffles that lead to Jepp revealing to Aimee that, in fact, he used to take hybrid kids. And Aimee is like, by the end, you're not a fit father for Gus. I'm going to take it from here. See you later, Air Bud. And then meanwhile, Gus is also dealing with some stuff of his own as the animal kids found out that he was lying about their chameleon friend, lizard friend, whatever it was. Regardless, he is still being trusted by Bobby, which is the best thing that's ever happened in the history of the world. Oh my God. We got to talk about Bobby's Shawshank moment.
Bobby had a Shawshank moment. He also did that. He turned his back on him. Walked away. I was like, Bobby, come on.
I know I'm jumping about this in the middle of the recap, and I always get peed on this. The Shawshank moment with Bobby was the best moment on TV in the past decade. I'm just going to throw it out there.
See, I'm the least Bobby guy here. You're Alex, you're like all Bobby. Pete, you're medium Bobby. I'm little Bobby, little on Bobby. But that moment was the fact that they were right there on the table. It was right there on the table for them, and they just did it.
They did it. They were like, we got to have this Shawshank shot.
Made me so happy. God. And I think that's it for the episode. We should move on with Peanut.
Yeah!
No. I'm kidding. Anyway, so Bobby gets out, but at the same time, Bear gets in to the last men she is training. She is killing it there. She is on a mission. Clearly, I think we haven't said this out loud, and obviously she can't tell anybody, but it's clear that she's like, I got to get to the Essex County Zoo at all costs. It doesn't matter literally what it costs me other than this audio tape that I'm going to hold on to of Birdie. I think it's Birdie on the tape, right? Talking to Gus, if I remember correctly. And she trains. She loses track of Blondie, who's kind of bummed out about it.
Well, he sucks. He sucks at being the last man. Bear's sick at it. It's great.
But by the end of the episode, they've been sent on a mission to infiltrate a hybrid family and take back a hybrid who can talk. Obviously, we know it's not Gus, but Bear thinks it's Gus. And the biggest stuff, I think, arguably, is going down with Singh and Rani. We speculated on the last episode, is Rani having like a little bit of a break with Singh? And I think this episode, yes. She is not on board. She sees that Peter Crocodile has been sacrificed to make her cure.
That was
and that's the thing that she's just like, she backs off.
What do you do when a Peter goes down, Pete? Fellow Peter.
You got to pour a little out for the homie. You know what I mean?
A little M&M out. Drop an M.
Yeah, drop an M.
Oh, man. Anyway, Rani, though, is also revealing herself as kind of a master manipulator / mastermind. She finds out that Johnny is actually Abbott's brother and manipulates this whole dinner to basically make Abbott realize that he loves his brother, and it kind of works.
Well, I was also like, what? This is the plan? I was like, what, this is a love plan?
Yeah.
It works, though, man.
The
That's how
plan
the
is
show
to
works.
get somebody getting emotional about their brother so then you can work your plan. Well, but on top of a plan.
Yes, but is her secret plan then to make Johnny happy so that he'll be nice to the hybrid kids? Like, that's what, like, her plan is not yet revealed.
So over the course of this dinner, first of all, she finds out that Johnny, he makes a little slip, and he's like, yeah, that's my brother. I know, we're kind of different, whatever. She stores this information away that she and Singh, after Singh legitimately just seems to discover a cure for the sick, which is wild.
Yeah.
Though obviously he's got to mass produce it somehow. That's, the stumbling block we have at this point. It clearly still depends on killing hybrid children, which is not great. So that's going to be another stumbling block there. But Abbott decides to celebrate.
Probably feel a little different if the guy's name was Alex.
Wait, what?
What?
The crocodile?
You're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal to kill some, animal children.
No, I said it was a stumbling block.
Yeah, I'm saying if it was Alex was the name of the alligator, which makes more sense if you ask me, you would probably rank a little higher than just the stumbling block. Okay?
Right,
I would
that's like
argue
how
also,
your name is Harry Human for the alliteration as well, right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I would also, Alex, killing a crocodile boy. To call that a stumbling block, I would say is minimizing it perhaps a little bit. A stumbling block is something that you step over or around pretty easily.
Sorry, what do you refer to killing children as? Because I always call it stumbling blocks.
I'm going to listen to you. We're like, what did you do today? And like, I had a bunch of stumbling blocks. I had to do it. I was like, oh, no.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they're stumbling over blocks. I'm stumbling over their blocks. Anyway, so regardless, Rani finds this out, stores away this information, designs the whole menu, makes it into like, I guess the idea there is like home comfort meal or something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This plan relies on a lot of big emotional swings. And our guy really coming through with the real cheese, Dudley.
Oh,
coming
yeah,
through
dude.
with
How about that? Real.
I did. This is jumping ahead a little bit, but I really like the moment when Gus escapes and he runs by Dudley, and Dudley's like, ugh, with his tray.
Well, he's in the middle of Top Chef The Crumble, just trying to win and not be killed by Abbott. High stakes Top Chef. It's great.
But like I was saying, though, so she makes this meal. She gets Johnny and Abbott to admit that they're brothers. Johnny's obviously willing to do it, but Abbott is like, oh, did you find out now? All right. And goes into his whole arch
and
thing.
Then he takes off his glasses for like a long period of time and is very freaky.
Well, and it was an alarming moment to the last episode. In this episode, they clearly are doubling down on that idea. Like he was faking being human the last episode. This episode, which I was shocked about. I thought there was going to be a turn in the scene at some point where he's playing them in some way, but he's not. He's legitimately fondly remembering the time they were in a band together. They thought they were going to be in Simon and Garfunkel or like Ice Simon and Garfunkel. They probably didn't think they were going to be in Simon and Garfunkel.
That is a weird dream because that band famously didn't have a lot of other space. You know what I mean?
You know what this band needs? More.
They weren't looking for like a drummer, you know?
My dream is to star in Cagney and Lacey. Be one of the two main stars.
Yeah. Simon, Garfunkel, Abbott, and Glasses. What a great foursome.
And just that story was very heartfelt. Again, I spent the whole scene waiting for like some sort of classic turn, but it didn't come. And I appreciate the level of storytelling it leads to that not coming.
Well, and I think the telling statement was, I'm the hand and he's the heart. And I think you're not going to, the hand is dangerous. The heart is very reachable and changeable. And I think that's what the goal, Ronnie's plan feels like. It's like getting Rani and Johnny to be like, sort of like, you're on my team and we're going to like do good.
She wants to steal his heart, basically.
Yeah, right. Indiana Jones style.
Yep.
The
Numshibai, bro.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny when I first thought of, I imagined Indiana Jones taking a heart and putting a bag of sand in its place, but what you said makes way more sense. The actual heart stealing.
Wow. Yeah. Weird. I went to the heart stealing moment, and you went to the old sand trophy kind of move.
Yeah, I was thinking about the nuke the fridge moment when you guys were saying putting a heart in a fridge and then
everyone's favorite Indiana Jones moment.
Yes.
But I do think that's a long con situation, Rani. But does Rani have a long time left?
No. Ooh. Well, she definitely has way longer than you would think. She has been around for a very long time. I do think we talked about this a couple of episodes back, but I don't know if Rani's making it out of this season.
I don't think so.
Well, especially the way she was like, I just want to look at the stars. I was like, are you dying?
Well, and what she like, does she cry blood tears? What happens with the blood on her face?
That's from the doctor who's careless
from killing
it wasn't clear. It took me a little while to his stumbling block. You guys remember?
Yeah.
He was but no,
she finds out. Stop saying that. He clearly was touching Peter Crocodile, got some blood on his head, and
that makes way more sense.
Peter, that's
yeah. No, he was just rubbing Peter, and then he was getting the Peter juices all over his head. Is that better, Pete?
Yeah, there you go. Great.
Great. Anyway,
it's a show for children. Television
podcast,
show.
Clearly. So, and that's what you got on her cheek, and that's what makes you realize, oh God, he's still, the way that he's made this cure, the way that
he's still murdering children.
Exactly. And for her, she is personalized, as one should, the hybrid children. We get an example later on with the guy who looks like that guy from Workaholics who's hanging out with Hulk, the two soldiers, come in, and they don't see them. They're straight up like, ooh, I would love to eat these children, which is ogre behavior.
Yeah.
So a lot of what we're getting in this episode, and we talked about this on the last episode of the podcast, is just driving home the theme of the title. Like, bad man, yes, there are some people, like I would say those two soldiers, those are bad men. But everybody else, on the surface, Abbott is a bad man, but there's more to him. Does that make what he's doing good? Probably not, but it's something to think about.
And our two main characters, if you want to call them that, Jeppard and Gus, like, do something bad. Everyone thinks they're bad, but we know they're good because we like them, and they're our main characters. And I like the duality of both of them getting busted by their secrets being revealed in this episode and dealing with the consequences of that. Which for Jepp, he's left behind, has to drive rather than fly, which is a bummer.
Man, yeah.
Have you ever traveled by car? You ever traveled by car? That's it. It's the thing. Exactly. It takes a long time.
It does.
Flying faster because you're in the air.
All right. Well, I need to talk about something that we haven't addressed yet. I want to talk about that sick banjo opening that we got to this episode that was just...
And closing. The bluegrass is crushing.
You're right. It was a nice banjo sandwich that we got here that we haven't talked about.
Well, sorry.
Every day is a banjo sandwich if you do it.
To
right.
pivot off of that for a second, though, this also ties into something that we were talking about a couple of episodes back on the podcast as well, which is they have that great thing where Aimee and Jepp come out, everybody's partying because they think there's a cure for the sick, and Aimee says, "Has everyone forgotten the sick is still out there?" Again, the show, not so subtly, but also subtly talking about the current place we are in with COVID, with the actual pandemic we're in, without making you feeling bad for talking about the real world, but picking these little details that we are dealing with every day and throwing into the show when they make sense. I thought that was great. And I thought there were a couple of moments like that throughout this episode.
That felt very real when that happened. It definitely snapped me out of the show for a second to like, oh, that's what people say here, especially when they were filming this, which was much more, much closer to the more lockdown pandemic. Pete,
great.
What were you
said everything we need to say.
Yeah, you really fucking took the fun out of that.
But the banjos were good.
Oh, banjo sandwich. That's what we were talking about.
Banjo sandwich. Yeah, I was just impressed that we started.
By the way, did you guys? I was reading this in the Times actually. There's a new COVID variant called banjo sandwich.
Oh man,
yeah, it
sounds
real bad.
Excellent. Yeah,
if you get it, you got to play the banjo to get better. Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. That's a great idea.
Banjo your way out of sickness.
Can't banjo your way out of this one, Pete.
Dang it. One of these days, I'm going to be able to banjo my way out of this, and then you'll all be sorry.
Pete's trying to banjo his way out of it. I thought it was interesting at the top of the episode, Jeppard and Aimee are together talking, and they're like, I only met you yesterday. and I was like, oh right, this show is, the timeline is super compressed. Like they did just meet yesterday. All of this stuff still happened so recently for them. They're on the run. They need to go back there immediately. Like it feels like everything's so entrenched, but it's actually like so active.
Yeah.
Well, so
I
that's
also
interesting.
Sorry, I just wanted to say an additional thing about that I was struck in this episode in particular, and I think they turned it enough by the end of the episode, but I started to feel like, man, we're 4 episodes in and these kids are still in the zoo. We still need to get everybody together. And obviously we have half the season to go, but I was starting to feel a little like the previous season went so many places. It was this epic journey. Every episode felt like we're exploring a new version of the world. And this season feels smaller and tighter, even though we are visiting some other places and getting to see Factory Town. And we're getting to see what's going on with the Air Buddies and everything.
The Air Buddies.
So, yeah. So we do get to see some other places, but it's not exploring in the same way. But I do think we get a very clear mission and things open up in a big way in the second half of this episode that made me feel a little better about that.
Yeah, I mean, once you break out of Shawshank and get your moment, I mean, the world is your oyster. We're going to see a lot.
Well, we're heading to Lemire City, a clear reference to Jeff
Lemire.
Yeah, said that a bunch of times. But yeah, are you guys feeling that at all? I wonder, not to get back to the COVID of it all, but I do wonder if there were certain COVID or budget limitations or something like that where they're like, hey, we gotta tighten this up a little bit just in terms of scope of the action.
To me, it's like just a very different type of pacing. The first season was like a lot of big moves as we're telling sort of this longer backstory underneath it at the same time, but it was like the front journey. And this, we met over the course of the first season, we met all these characters. So now they have just so many more people to follow. So we're just moving all these pieces down the board a little bit at the time, bringing them together for sort of the Uber narrative to become one, to combine, I guess. So I think it's just a different pacing style of telling the story.
It's also much more serialized this season. Not that it wasn't the last season, but it felt more episodic because of those places. So yes,
take it easy. We're halfway. Take it easy.
Sure. We'll see what happens. I started to get worried. And again, I was fine by the end of the episode, but I started to get worried a little bit that this was a second season that isn't leaving it all on the table, that it was like, well, we're going to deal with the battle for the Essex County Zoo, and that's where we end up. But what I really loved, and I think what we all loved about the first season, is how big it went and how far it went in this story. It felt like, wow, maybe they have like a couple of episodes left. And this one to me is feeling more like the long play of, okay, maybe we won't finish this up by the end of season 2 and they'll be setting up season 3 and season 4 and season 5, which given the current TV atmosphere always makes me nervous for a show.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cause you never really know. But I do think I was feeling the same way about specifically the kids. Like it feels like they're just always in the room being like, what are we going to do now? And that was going on here again until Gus literally runs out the door, breaking the pattern up there. Really like full horn antler to the stomach or leg for that dude.
Yeah, he tore up. Yeah, that one guy.
Yeah, that was Hulk, right? Or did he get Hulk, or did he get Workaholics?
I think he got Hulk.
Okay, I can't tell.
Well, and then Workaholics got zapped in the balls.
But yeah, I would like to talk a little bit about like how, lying is bad, but it was a little messed up how Wendy just kind of threw Gus on her, like, oh yeah, this fucking asshole's lying to you guys. And then she was on their side. And then everybody just turned their back on Gus. Like, I understand, like, yeah, you can't lie, but like, it's not like, I mean, he's trying to keep moods light and, we're trapped in prison here, So I was a little heartbroken that everybody was so quick to be like, hey, Gus, fuck you,
Well, let me throw this out at you. And this is driven home in this episode, Wendy was raised by Aimee, and what Aimee does to Jepp is about even to what Wendy does to Gus.
Ooh, yeah. Wow, nice.
So I do think there's a consistency there in terms of how they have been raised. Yeah, well, how they deal with things.
Well, but without Gus, the leadership in the hybrid room is
chaos.
Yeah,
but how are you going to storm a castle without the big man? You know what I mean? You're just benching the best player. That's a dumb move. Like, I understand why she did it emotionally, but like strategically, that was a really dumb move.
Well, and I think she was very upset, but I think eventually they'll
definitely
come back together when he goes and drives his truck a long ways or whatever.
Yeah. And then, of course, I think that was also to get Bobby out of there so he can tell them where the animal kids are. I think he's probably going to be
How hard
there.
do you think they wrote to get that Shawshank moment? I feel like the idea from the story came from, like, what if we had a Muppet doing a Shawshank moment, and then they wrote
You mean before season 1, right? Like,
that was
the pitch in the room?
The series.
And they were like, first of all, here's $100 million. Second of all, how do you get there a season and a half in? Because, by the way, we wanted a season and a half in.
That's right.
Do you think they shot him crawling through, like, a shit pipe?
Yeah, they did.
Because I think that's part of the journey.
I wanted the voiceover to come in when he started to do the, he crawled through,
They should have let it drag on longer, and the animal kids asked for like some sort of animal kid Rita Hayworth poster to put on the walls and hide it.
Yeah,
so many ideas there. We got to remake this show.
We got to watch Shawshank Redemption. I think. Real answer,
because we clearly don't know what's going on. One thing we should probably mention that's a big plot point is the group of 3 now knows about the cure, and they want to meet with Abbott. He's got a plan here for what's going to happen. What do you? That doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't. Especially because when we saw the 3, they wanted nothing to do with this guy. Thought he was clearly out of his gourd.
Well, and also the fact that he
leave it closed, Pete. Leave it closed.
Come on, man. We're at time.
No, we're not at time. What does that mean?
20 minutes in is when we open the candy. That's what we've been doing the whole time.
You're the kid at the holidays who's like, we said we were opening presents at 4 a.m. And it's like, no one said that.
Yeah.
No one said that. We're doing it when we get up.
Yeah. Hold on. We're almost there.
Now I forgot what I was going to say, so I hope you're happy. Now I'm going to say something that is stupid instead. When we first met the Air Lords, I was like, this is Tailspin. These people are all the characters from Tailspin. And that's really what I thought, and that's what it reminded me of.
Is Bear... wait.
Oh, look, Pete lost it because he's got candy brain.
I'm trying to put it...
Is Bear yum yum for my tum tum?
No,
Is Bear, am I Bear? Candy Bear. I'm a candy bear.
While you're figuring out whatever you were going to say, Pete, a couple of things that I'll mention.
Gadget?
I really... So just talking about the
Rescue
Airbuds
Rangers.
for a second.
Oh, that's Rescue Rangers.
We do have this moment where Jepp is drawn into conflict by this dude and beats him up. That felt a little stagey to me, to be honest, that this dude was just railing on Jeppard in the middle of this whole thing, particularly when he's like, oh, you destroyed that guy right on the field. That's literally poking the bear there, right there. That's going on. Yeah, but otherwise, I like this group. This is a fun, ridiculous, post-apocalyptic group to have people who are based on planes. They also seem like doofuses. There's that moment later on where they're just being very intensely walking down their storage area and somebody drops all of the canisters in the background that I thought was very fun. This is jumping over to another thing, but one of my favorite lines in the episode is when Rani is talking to Johnny and they're just going back and forth. And then there's a pause in the conversation and Abbott's like, you good? And
that whole dinner scene was wild between the Dudley stuff and all of it. It was just like a fun scene. This show is capable of just taking on a different tone and having this like sort of funny, weird, but with an edge, also heartwarming scene in the middle. It's cool.
That whole gargoyle moment was also really intense and kind of cool.
Yeah, set up like a Seinfeldian code word.
Yeah,
and it happens to be gargoyle.
Like already in too deep.
Oh yeah, no, I love that. Just having her say it immediately, that just really drove a line under. Ronnie's like, please, we need to get out of there. Get out of here. And Singh can't. Like, he can't do it. If she said it in the middle of the meal, it wouldn't matter either because it's already in too deep. And to talk about like the tension between them, and then we can move on to the candy for real. That scene.
I have like 5 or 10 more.
Come on, dude.
Well, when they're getting ready for bed as well, like they're just on different paths. I think at this point, there is no world where we end the season where Rani and Singh are together.
Yeah. You think they're gonna get a divorce?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the first post-apocalyptic divorce.
What do you think divorce is like in the post-apocalypse? It's like, hey, we'll just walk away from each other. That's fine. You don't have to
Literally,
no, we really want to file the paperwork.
Yeah, we got to split up our stuff. You can't carry your stuff. None of your stuff. Yeah. You can't eat any of your butt stuff.
It's not going to fit in your bindle, your divorced bindle. I did want to say the moment Singh is like waiting for the cure, that really worked on me. That was really well done.
Yeah,
like it's great science moment, I thought. But then like him finding the cure was very underplayed. No one was very excited for him.
I really thought that Abbott was going to inject himself immediately and be like, I'm the first person who gets it. But I think they're instead putting it into play for some moment later on. Whatever he's doing with the group of 3 ties into that, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing I want to say is the narrator is really hitting the platitudes. Yeah. Like, I want some more hard information from James Brolin here.
I agree.
It's a little, I've had enough of him being like, the thing with roads is they're always taking you somewhere. I'm like, I know, dude. I know.
But we joked about this the last season about him just sort of waking up and rolling over and saying some stuff. And then we found out from Jim Mickle, the showrunner, that he's super into it. Like, he loves doing the narration, really thinks about it a lot. But definitely this season is a lot of like, what does this have to do with what's going on? I'm not like, we don't have to have the narrator if it doesn't make any sense.
That's 100% right.
Yeah.
All right. I did like the line, "Welcome to the cheap seats, big man." That was a fun line.
Yeah. Why don't we move on to the candy? We are going to talk about, as we mentioned, a classic peanut M&Ms here.
We all have
what's
them.
inside? Let's find out. Let's find out what's inside.
I am curious before we even get to it, and you can open it up and eat stuff while you want, Pete. But we talked about what we were going to eat here, and we were like, okay, what kind of M&Ms? Because there's a lot of different flavors, but there's the basic chocolate M&M, peanut M&M. I think now in the rotation, you got your peanut butter M&Ms, and then fun
rotation.
Flavors. Yeah, well, but like that's the standard. Like they have that all the time now.
Yeah, because Alex, you eat all the fucked up M&Ms, right?
All the time. Whenever I see a weird M&M, I'm all over that. But why peanut M&Ms, Pete? Why was that your number one choice? You were so sure of that above regular M&Ms.
Peanut M&Ms is the best of the M&Ms.
Yes, I mean I figured that based on you chose it, but why is it the best one?
Well, I'm getting there. I've tried all the M&Ms all the time, and they're just a better combination. Like the chocolate ones are nice, but they're too chocolatey as far as they don't add anything else. With peanut, you're getting peanut and chocolate. And even the ones that have peanut butter in there is not as good. The caramel ones are nice, but the peanut M&Ms, it's just such a great ratio of chocolate and peanut. It's a perfect combination.
I've never heard you speak with such succinct eloquence and confidence, Pete. So bravo. So big reveal. There's a peanut inside of this peanut M&M. Spoiler. I agree. I think peanut M&Ms are the best M&Ms.
Interesting.
The only other M&M I like is if you take a regular M&M and they're very cold. Like you leave them in your winter coat pocket and like go outside. Then you pull them out and eat them. Or a fridge. I've never chilled anything in a fridge. Is that like being outside in the winter with your coat pocket? Because that's where I put, like, when I get groceries, I put like the sandwich meat in my pockets, and like ice cream is harder in your pocket because it always melts. But
how big is your pocket,
anyway,
man?
Pretty big, and I have a crisper area in my pocket for the lettuce.
Smart.
So I'll always choose regular M&Ms over peanut M&Ms. I'm fine with peanut M&Ms, but
interesting.
Why?
So two reasons. I'm fine with them, but like I can't taste the peanut. I don't feel like it adds anything necessarily to the M&M over the basic M&M.
Taste the peanut. Are you sure you're eating it? Are you just holding it?
I lick it.
It's mostly peanut. You fucking out of your mind.
It's almost all peanut.
Yeah. I just sort of you lick the outside and then throw it away, right? That's how you eat the M&M.
Yeah, it's like a pebble.
No, but like I taste the peanut butter and the peanut butter items. I like those because I'm like, great, I'm getting a peanut butter flavor. I just don't really get it from here. And then also, this is definitely psychological and I'm sure wrong, but my feeling is always, oh, I'm going to get more M&Ms in the regular M&M package than in the peanut M&M package because they're too large.
Oh man, what are you, 6? That's not how it works.
What?
You're like trying to game the system. Like, I need the most candy for my buck.
Probably, yes. Yeah, why not? Got a good deal.
Peanut M&Ms are heartier. It's going to be a bigger
More
meal.
of a meal. More of your meal M&M.
Right.
Yeah, if
and
you're
I want
hungry
a
and
snack.
you want more, you get more from the peanut M&Ms.
Again, they're totally fine, good candy, but I will always reach for regular M&M. I do have a question. I've never done this, and I've always thought about doing this, and then
What
I
is
forget.
broken inside your brain that you're like, I don't want these things to taste better.
I
want
like
these things
peanuts
that are
and I
less."
like M&Ms. Stop mixing
you're
them.
broken.
Stop putting put
There's
peanut butter in my
something
chocolate. Don't put
broken inside of
peanut in my chocolate.
What if we took a regular M&M and taped a little peanut to it? Would you
I'd be
like that?
way more into that because free tape.
Yeah.
What are you out of money, man? You need to borrow some money.
I've spent all my money on this podcast.
Believe that.
Wait, I do have a question though. So because this is a classic and I've never done it, and I'm curious if you guys have ever done it. Have you ever put M&Ms in the popcorn at movie theater? Is that good?
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yuck.
Are you kidding me?
Would never.
Oh my.
Do you
God,
also
Greg.
put butter sauce on it?
Oh yeah, you do.
What are you trying to die? Are you?
Yeah.
This is insane. No wonder you see movies alone because you're mixing a whole candy mess in your popcorn bag.
Oh man. And then I get that kind of like white cheddar you can sprinkle on top. Oh come on.
I couldn't even sit next to you if you were eating that. That's
How
much
are
that would
we,
gross me.
without talking about the specific candies that we've already done on the podcast, because I should mention, I don't think I mentioned this the last episode, eventually we're going to have to decide on the Syrup Cup round 2, the best candy of the season. How are you feeling about peanut M&Ms? It sounds like you like them. Do you feel like they're highly ranked, middle ranked, low ranked?
Well, I mean, let's talk about what we've had so far. So we go backwards, Cadbury cream egg.
I
peanut
just said
M&Ms.
we're not
Just-
doing that.
you just said don't do that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I want to do this.
Yeah.
So for me, peanut M&M's better than the Cadbury. I'm looking right into your eyes, Zalbs, because I know
I'm not going to rank them, so that's fine. But you're already doing this. So you got Cadbury cream eggs, you got peanut M&Ms, you got we did Sour Patch Kids.
Yes, right.
No, wait. What did we do with Warheads? It was Nerds versus Warheads. We
Nerds,
did Nerds, and we did Twizzlers. Right? Was that the first one?
That sounds right.
I
Sure,
thought there
there
were
you go.
Sour Patch ones in there.
No, that was season 1.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
season 1. Oh, season 1.
Yeah.
Let me say, I think I don't like candy.
Horrible revelation halfway through the
horrible.
season for a podcast.
Hearing
You're not
you
having
list,
any fun with this.
hearing you list those things. I mean, it's fun. Hearing you list those things, I'm like, I never buy any of that stuff, nor do I eat it. So
Well, I'll tell you what.
I talk
what we
to myself
probably should
when
have
I
done this
walk into-
episode, and so we can do next episode, is a nice lasagna.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
When I
I'm
go to
on
a grocery store-
savory men.
When I go to a grocery store, I got to have a talk with myself to be like, don't just go right to the candy aisle and buy everything. You can't do that.
Really? That's a huge surprise based on how you've been treating this podcast, where I say, hey, do you have time to do a Sweet Tooth podcast? And the first thing you text back is, what candy are we doing? Not
That's
what
right, because
episode.
now I'm like, now I can get something from the candy aisle.
And you set a mental clock where it's like, well, I've talked for 19 minutes. It's time to start opening the candy.
It's candy time.
Candy tap!
Well, anyway, there we go. Yet another great episode of Sweet Tooth and another great episode of our Candy Review podcast. If you'd like to support this podcast and all the podcasts we do, patreon.com/Comic Book Club. Also, we do a live show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. to Facebook and YouTube. Come hang out. We would love to chat with you about Sweet Tooth. Apple, Spotify.
Sweet Tooth.
Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or the app of your choice to subscribe, listen, and follow the show at Comic Book Live on Twitter, Comic Book Club Live on TikTok and Instagram. ComicBookClubLive.com for this podcast and many more. Until next time, the Candyman Cat.
And each bag of M&Ms has one with a pebble in the middle of it, right? You got to be careful about that one.
Yep.
I'm the opposite. I think I love candy too much, Justin. I'm the opposite of you.
Oh, really?